Nobody's pitted. We are back, folks. I'm just trying to get the broadcast back up for you all. There we go. Apologies. I'm not sure what happened there. There's a yellow flag. Anybody the leaders come in yet? No. We're just riding on board with Rick, who is putting Primeval under... Oh, not Primeval, sorry. Kylo Ren and Speed under all sorts of pressure. Speed, however, did get past Kylo Ren while I wasn't looking. Let's get the new stream up. Tier 1, 2, 1 reserve. There we go. Apologies for dip in the stream for a second. Let's go back to the tier 1 chat. Let's see. Any of the leaders coming in. Finley, in the meantime, has also got himself a track limits penalty. That won't help him in his bid for this race win. Could it see him drop off the podium, perhaps, in the final stages? Maybe not, but certainly onto the lowest step possible. Still none of the leaders come in and pull the trigger. Enchilada's into the pit lane now. He's had enough of this medium tyre. As Rick has made his way past Speed Alcoholic. They're fighting each other there as well. Did he get past them both in one fell swoop? We were looking when it happened, but I think he was in P6 just moments before. Did he make it? Did he do the double? Let's see. He did do the double. He got them both. What a move from Rick. Those medium tyres have really dropped off the cliff now. The hards are coming into their own. But is it going to be enough? Is it going to fend off that undercut, I wonder? And Saldo into the pits now. Oh, and that's a crash. Somebody's out. That's Primeval on the start-finish straight. That's a weird place to crash. Did he crash into the pit lane? What has he done there? We're not going to see. But no safety car or anything. But that's Primeval out of the race. If you're in the chat, Primeval, do let us know. Share your truth with us, Primeval. We want to know what happened. Still, the leaders stay out once again. If John Wick didn't have that time penalty, he would be in a good spot for an undercut. Rubiowski and Hamilton Merck now into the pit lane for their stops. Onto the hard tyres for the Haas. Back out onto the racetrack. There goes John Wick. Too much throttle and steam rolled into the pit straight. Ouch. That's what happens sometimes, unfortunately, Primeval. It's a shame that your race ended the way that it did. But sometimes that's just the lay of the land. Meanwhile, Kevin O'Reilly and Lawrence fighting one another. I think that's Lawrence making an overtake on Kevin O'Reilly there. And Kevin not able to attack back at the moment on the two-time Tier 2 champ. But maybe he is. Looks to the outside. Doesn't quite do it. Lawrence defends the inside for the next two corners. I think Kevin would be a fool to attack there, but he's got the overspeed. Is he going to go for a move on Lawrence in toward the hairpin there? No. Thinks twice on that one, and wisely so. Joe going to get involved in this action now. Kevin O'Reilly looking to find a way past. As all three of the leaders have made their way into the pits, have they? No. But the group of Kylo Ren and Speed have made their way in. Jacko's in the pit lane as well. So finally, these medium runners start coming in. Ghost and Dakar are still yet to pull the trigger. Are they going to maybe match what Speed does here? Are they going to do that? Perhaps. Will they come out ahead of Rubiowski? There they are. Look to the right-hand side. I think they're all just going to make it. Maybe Rubiowski will try and make a move on Jacko. But Jack just had the track space. Just had enough of a car ahead to say no thank you to Rubiowski on his effort to make a move. Meanwhile, Lawrence losing more places. Kevin and Joe now have got him. He held that P12 for a few moments, but was unable to fend off the two cars behind. He's got Jonathan now as well behind him. He'll be looking to make a move. A mistake for the Red Bull of Hamzaldo brings out a yellow flag. And finally, Ghost in. And to Dakar. No! Really, really pushing the limit there. No track limits penalties for the pair of them right now. But in they come. It's hammer time now for Finley. Rick comes out ahead. I don't think Ghost or Dakar will be under any threat, but Dakar gets ahead of Ghost in the pit lane. That's a bit of an upset there, and that's going to be an interesting fight as they come out. There's John Wick in the background, just behind his Speed Alcoholic as well. No undercut there. They were too slow to make it work. And it's a race on for Dakar and Ghost, who I think they'll know that they need to work together, but I'm not sure that they'll know that the other one is going to do that. And it could be race on here. Ghost is looking very racy coming out of the pit lane already. Let's look at the gap to leader. 26.4 seconds. I think if Finley were to pit, maybe in the next couple laps, I think he might be okay. We'll see when he chooses to go in. The medium tyres can clearly go the distance. So when does he choose? Let's see. He's coming up to the pit lane now. Doesn't come in, no. Vizzy rightly out of the way. How about Rick? Will he make his way into the pit lane? No, he will not. Meanwhile, Jackalacco's got Rubialski and Enchilada Dad for company. Jacko holding this train for now. Lots of little battles going up and down the grid. You've got the battle for P12 here with Joe, Kevin, Jonathan and Lawrence. Lots of time penalties handed out among the grid as well. About half the drivers now with time penalties as Ghost passes Dakar. Fairly cut and dry that one. And into the net P2 right now. Let's keep an eye on the gap to leader. Still 26.6 seconds. I don't think it's going to be enough. This undercut. This just depends on when Finley's going to come in. And we know Finley's a very knowledgeable racer. He does know the right tyres for the right time. Will he go on to softs perhaps? He does have a set available from memory, or at the very least a set that aren't all that scrubbed in. Meanwhile, there's the fight going on for P12. Joe is trying to find a way around the outside of Kevin O'Reilly, but no dice for JB. Kevin O'Reilly, another 3-second time penalty. That's probably 2 sets of penalties now. Finley sets the fastest lap, just to say to everybody, I'm on old tyres and I'm still the fastest man on track. That's a slap in the face to everybody behind him. Hope crushed. Crushed beneath the heel of his racing boot. Dakar, will he go for the attack on Ghost? It looks like he is going to. He doesn't back off. Down the inside he goes. In towards that net P2 once again. But working together quite happily as Kevin has a spin. He's off the circuit into the wall. He's got wing damage as well. I think that could be a retirement in the pit lane there from Kevin O'Reilly. Was looking to make it work after his quali ban, but I think this could be the end of his race. Into the pits he comes. Does he quit? He does retire from the session. That is a shame. Meanwhile, gap to leader once again. It's not going to work. Finley's too fast and in he comes finally. I wonder what the gap. Has he overcut them? Let's find out. It is a long pit lane here. Look on the minimap. There's your red and blue dot coming through the penultimate corner now. On to the mediums goes Finley. through the final corner. The two drivers are coming. Rick's also in the pit lane as well. Dakar sets the fastest lap. Finley is approaching now. There he is. Are they going to be close enough to make a move? Dakar goes past him though through turn 1. They weren't close enough to Finley to make a move, but it's as they were. They're going to be right behind Finley. But advantage now to the medium tyres. Ghost goes wide. That's going to open the door for the Ferrari, but he doesn't go for the move. He has to sniff around the outside. Doesn't go for it. They're going to work together if they have any hope of catching Finley. But look, Finley is already starting to put those medium tyres to use. He's going to start opening up that gap now. They've got to be patient perhaps, or they've got to really put down the throttle. Meanwhile, Rick flying the flag for Williams, doing a smashing job so far. Let's update you on the penalty situation. So it's 3 seconds for Finley. Yes, that's what he's got to break out as well. Don't forget, Ghost is actually the net P1 right now, unless Finley's got a way to remove that 3-second time penalty. So Ghost and Dakar, they're fighting for the lead. Just wasn't your day, Kevin. That is a shame. At least you didn't take anybody with you. I can't say the same for myself. But speed, 9 seconds, that's really going to hurt him in the constructors battle, especially as Rick is right behind as Dakar makes a move while we assess the penalty situation. And I think Rick's going to make a move now on speed. Down the inside he goes, and simple as 3 wide down into turn 1 here. Jack Alacco gets past the Haas, who also then gets passed by Enchilada Dad, and he loses 2 places, does Rubialski. But it's 9 seconds for speed, 3 for Kylo Ren, another 3 for Hamilton Merck, and then Hamzaldo and Vizzy both with 6 as well. 13 seconds for John Wick. But look at that. Already Finley is pulling out the gap. I think something tells me those mediums are going to have the life to be able to see it off. I don't think Dakar and Ghost can do much but hope that the mediums drop off. Finley has a mistake. He lags out of the session. Anything really. They're still doing just enough right now, although only one of them may reap the rewards of that time penalty. But still, Finley pushes out the time. It's approaching the 3 seconds. There goes Ghost once again. Working together, these two. Commentary partnership as well, over in PSGL, I believe. I'm sure they're fantastic to watch together. Enchilada that makes his way through. Oh, Jack fight him around the outside. Not quite. Doesn't go for the move. Happy to sit behind the McLaren for now. Let's see. Let's check on Lawrence. The Lawrence cam. Is he going to go 2 for 1 here? Here he goes. There goes Lawrence. Down the inside of both those drivers with him. That's Joe and Jonathan. They're having a lovely ding-dong battle. This is much better from Lawrence. I'm sure he's having a lot more fun in the cockpit that time, but a little bit of a overextension, and that means Joe gets up the inside. Jonathan not going to let this one go either, and all that hard work comes tumbling down for Lawrence. Part of me shouldn't be glad that I caught that on stream, but I might clip that later and put that in the group chat. Oh dear. I love you, Lawrence, really. Meanwhile, Finley has stretched that gap 4.3 seconds. Clearly the medium tyre's working for him. This fight for P1 has now become a fight for P2. They haven't got to worry about the podium. Rick 7 seconds behind them. He's looking comfortably in P4 right now. Here we go again. Jack Enchilada The tier 2 fight going on here as Jack makes his way through. Rubialski try and follow as well. Side by side they go through turn number 1. They're still side by side on the exit. Will the McLaren swoop around the outside? He'll try, but to no avail as the Haas closes the door on the exit and says thank you very much. But this is a fight that does matter between these three. No penalties on any of them. Meanwhile, Joe and Jonathan continue to fight. Lawrence is in amongst it as well. These three still having a ding-dong battle for P11. Great racing so far between everybody on the grid. Excuse me. Joe, though, with a 3-second time penalty, he ruins it. Must have gone wide at the double right-hander. Lawrence has capitalised on that, and that's ruined Joe's race. Even if he does finish in ahead of this train, if he can't break that 3 seconds, he finishes behind them. It's no use. Oh, Lawrence, no! Oh, just as I said, he was having a great race. Oh, don't do it again. Oh, I cursed him, is what I've done there. Oh, Lawrence. It was all going so well. Get your head down. Bring it home. That's all you got to do now. That's all he's got to do. Dakar chasing down Ghost. They've swapped places lap after lap after lap. Familiar with each other's rear wings. With each other's gearboxes, diffusers, whatever else is back there on these fantastic machines. Trading places like Pokemon cards. It's fantastic. Back and forth, back and forth. Who will be the man in P2? I must say, Rick has closed down 2 seconds in the last few laps. There's a Sauber, in the gravel at the hairpin. Lawrence is just coming past him now. It's John Wick. Oh dear, he's been kicked down the stairs now. He's got to climb all the way back up. If you've seen John Wick 4, you know what I'm talking about. But back in it, Lawrence has got somebody to share the embarrassment of spinning with. Now, as John Wick, will Lawrence just let him go, or will he fight John Wick? I wouldn't fight John Wick, personally. Sounds quite scary. There you go. Meanwhile, Finley, 6.1 seconds. Has he got himself any other time penalties to his name? No. 12 seconds now for speed. That's really going to ruin the day for the South African. Oh, he could finish down in P9. That's not good at all. Add 12 to that race time, it's 29. Yeah, about P9 speed will finish. Yikes. A good day at the office then for Williams. Rick and Jacko, they're a great team pairing. They may not be on the top all the time, but they're in the fight. They're in the places they need to be to score respectable points. And I think consistency and respectable points is what wins Constructors' Championships. Dakar not looking to overtake. Is this a ploy to get Ghost when he least expects it? Both relatively equal on battery. Here comes Rubialski, meanwhile, still fighting these three. Rubialski, Jackalacco, Enchilada. They're all at least guaranteed to profit off of Speed Alcoholics' inability to keep within the track limits. Can't quite catch up to Kylo Ren, but a mistake could creep up for the Aston Martin driver. There's Jonathan and JB getting close with each other. Jonathan getting past. Doesn't mean much for Jonathan, really. Joe will look to try and give him a time penalty by making him make a mistake or push a little bit too much. But Jonathan Experienced racer, knows what he's doing. Not the most exciting Qatar Grand Prix, it must be said. John Wick, another time penalty to add to his 10 seconds and growing penalties. Here comes Dakar again. Is he going to go for it this time? He does. Forced into it, perhaps. Was too close to Ghost. And had to go for the move. Into P2 he goes now. Let's ride on board with this fight. Let's ride on board with Ench. Let's see. This could be a double overtake here. Ench going to look to the inside as well. Going to follow Jacko through. 3 wide as they go in. Ench had to back off. Oh, that was going to be a hell of a crash between the 3 of them. And how he avoided that, I don't know. But Enchilada had the race sense to know when he was beat there and just backed out of that one before it all kicked off. Here's Joe and Jonathan once again. Joe getting back past the RB. John Wick in the pit lane now. That's a retirement. He's had enough. Look at it this way, Lawrence. You're going to score points. That's more than can be said for last Tuesday as Vizzy gets himself out of the way. And Finley really threw down the gauntlet in qualifying. He's done it again in the race. Look, 8.3 seconds. It was a bit of a slide through the first quarter. In theory, it's actually about 5 seconds of a gap with the time penalty, but won't matter. Unless he gets another time penalty, then we're thinking he'd need 2 more, actually. Let's see. Time penalties. A speed alcoholic gets another one. That's 15 seconds for speed. And if he's not... Well, he won't finish P10, but he'll definitely finish P9. Add 15, that's 35. He just right now finishes ahead of Hamilton Merck. After all said and done. The Track Limits Grand Prix strikes. Jonathan and Joe swapping places again. Will Ghost just hold it now? We'll see. Car number 72. He's won countless championships. I think 6 sprint. Or at least 1 F2. Couple of tier 1s. Couple of tier elites. The only one he doesn't have on his name is tier 2, but that would be unfair if we unleashed him in towards tier 2, I think. He chooses to hold station. Wants to get him on the final lap. Clever racing from Ghost. Not much Dakar can do about it. Unless he can feign a mistake. Force Ghost to be in the unruly position. He'd have to do it this lap. Ideally. Risky strategies. Jacko has got himself a time penalty. That's put pay to his race. He'll finish still ahead of Speed, but he won't finish ahead of Rubiowski or Enchilada. That's gonna... a little bit of a spanner in the works. Not maximising the points, and those mistakes are simple to make at this circuit. Rick has closed in a little bit more, but I don't think he's got the laps to try and threaten Dakar or Ghost. For that matter, I think he's going to have to settle for P4. Still, it's all sort of quietened down. That's what happens at Qatar, I think. It's just such a... I think it's that sort of track where you're on rails the whole time, you know? And like, you can't really overtake anywhere but here. This start-finish straight. You know, you could go for moves, sure, when the driver's ahead of you make mistakes, but there's always that element of risk at a track like this because it is so high speed that Enchilada and Rubialski make a little bit of contact. It was 3-1. I think if that does end up in the steward's room, I mean, it'll be me deciding on it, but not right now. I think that's a racing incident, personally, off of the top of my head, but without proper scrutiny, I can't tell. We're on the penultimate lap now, though. We're almost at the end. Here's our leader, Finley. Lap after lap, he's just been locked in. He's got the job done. And he's going to come round to complete one more tour of this circuit and claim another win in the championship. And, well, Speed Alcoholic, he'll be ruining every second of those penalties that he has. 15 seconds for the South African. 3 for Finley. And another one adds to it. 18 seconds now for Speed Alcoholic. He's saying, get me out of this car right now. One more lap, Speed. That's all you got to do. Meanwhile, Dake has been overtaken by Ghost. This was what I should have been focusing on right now. But Ghost was always going to do it in towards the first corner on the final lap. And it's P2 for Ghost. He's got to match his best result. He's got no hope of catching Finley up ahead. There we go. I got rid of the gaps as we go along. Finley coming into sector 3 now, unless Ghost makes a mistake or Dake gets a really good run out of one of these corners. I think the writing's on the wall for the Ferrari for P3. Let's ride on board. No, Ghost just no mistakes, composed in the cockpit of that Alpine as he makes his way through the triple right-hander. They're going to finish as they are, but rounding the final corner for one last time is Finley. We've seen this man at the top many a time, and he adds to that tally today with a win here at the Qatar Grand Prix. Over the line come Ghost and Dake. Any sort of drag race to the line, Dake does everything he can, but it's P2 and 3 for the pair of them. And then Rick crashes over the line in P4. I don't understand why people do that, in all honesty. Speed Alcoholic is done with this race. Watch him plummet now as everybody else starts crossing the line. Let's see, Kylo Ren. Yeah, there he goes, up into P4. Rick does finish P4, although he crashed before the line, so maybe he doesn't finish P4. What did Rick do? Has the game bugged out? Did Rick lose it on his own? What happened there? I think Rick's made a massive mistake. I'll have to look at the final results. Has Rick just made a really big mistake? Please tell me Rick's just joined the chat and is about to tell me he's made a huge error. I think he has. By Scott's reaction, I think he has. There's no way. There is no way. I don't think he did. We're going to find out in a second if the game thinks he finished. Let's get in the interview room quickly. Gosh, I'm fumbling. Create a party, quick, go, go, go. Cool, let's run quality order quickly. CPI Finley is your race winner with Ghost and Dakir on the podium. Then Kylo Ren, Rubiowski, Enchilada, Jacko, Speed, Hamilton, Merck, and Jonathan the top 10. Then there's Joe, Lawrence, Rick, Hamzaldo, Vizzy, your finishers with John Wick, Kevin O'Reilly, Primeval, and Yaram not finishing the race, as well as 3 Ross. And it looks like Rick did in fact crash before the line, and the game has put in P13. That is embarrassing. To say the least. I don't know if Ghost's program is going to classify him like that, but that is
classify him
in P4.
His car rolled across the line. It's good enough.
Oh, I don't know. It's like who was it that got out of the car and ran across the line? Was that Villeneuve? I feel like it was Villeneuve, maybe. I can't remember who that was.
And Mansell tried to push the car over the lane.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, Mansell was who I was thinking of, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh dear, crazy. I wouldn't have classified him personally, Ghost. I'd have let Rick learn his lesson. But anyway, thank you for being nice and punctual. I think you're all here. Oh God. Yes, all here. Okay, right, let's get started then. Finley, it was another absolutely dominant qualifying session. Ghost gave it everything he could, but you just had a little bit more in the tank, and then when it came to the race, you sort of seemed to have it. The strategy all came together. No safety cars came out, but just run us through the race from your perspective.
Well, quali was pretty poor first lap, and then the invalidated second. Third lap, I was guessing every single braking point because pretty much every single brake marker board was took out. And in the race, the hard medium is just so much faster than the other way around, because the hards barely wear, so there's not much of an undercut when you go into fresh ones. So I just tried to keep it clean from all those penalties, which I had like 2 warnings on lap 1 or something. So yeah, I just kept it clean, but then Rick robbed my fastest lap. Yeah, so it's what it is. Fun race anyway.
I can't help but laugh at a 20.9, that being like almost half a second faster than what anybody else could put down, being a pretty bad lap. In all honesty, I've got to laugh at that. And then you went on and went quicker anyway. It's quite amusing. But it seemed like you had no worries about the strategy then. We were expecting maybe a safety car to come out. I mean, were you worried about that?
Well, there's always a bit of concern, but when I saw how spread out the field was, I think it'd be a lot more difficult when it's like 1 or 2 cars like in every it's like mini train or something. So the only worry I had was disconnecting, but
Yeah, well, thankfully you didn't this time. But I think with Speed getting the amount of time penalties that he did, this could put you back into the championship lead. You've got 5 rounds of racing left. How many do you reckon you're going to make?
Well, I should be there for all of them, hopefully, but...
The answer nobody in Tier 1 wanted to hear. Oh, dear. Well, congratulations on another win, Finley. Let's fingers crossed you make it all of the races, because it should hopefully be exciting if anybody can put up that challenge.
Cheers. Thanks for commentating.
No problems. On to our P2 finisher then, and it's Ghost. You gave it everything you had in qualifying, Ghost, just to see that your lap time, which matched Finley more or less, still wasn't good enough, but it was front row at the start, and then it was you and Dakar trading places throughout the race, trying to do everything you could to stay with Finley, but he just didn't have. He just had the pace over you guys. Run us through the race.
Yeah, he did. It's probably my best quali lap of the season. Maybe my best quali lap of this game, but I can't remember far enough back to say that with confidence. But yeah, I was very happy with it. I didn't think I'd get into the 20s. Yeah, and I beat Finley's first lap, which is basically pole. But no, yeah, I was very happy with that. And then the race, it's like me and Daka said to each other in the party, pretty much flawless race from both of us. Um, we we both just kept it together, didn't really make any major errors the whole time, and managed to take home 2 and 3, which was the best we could do on the day. I think if I wanted to start on hards. Like I came into this week thinking I'm going to start this race on hards because I know it's much better. But I got traumatized by Tuesday because in tier 2 the safety car came out early and absolutely destroyed the guys on hards races. So yeah, I just put on mediums just in case. And honestly, I don't know if we'd have been able to keep up with Finley if I'd been on hards. So I'm not sure. It would have been interesting. Maybe I could have kept up for a bit, but I think he would have been better on the mediums. It might have been closer, but I don't know. I just played it safe and got P2. But it was great battling with Daka.
It sounded like you needed somebody to come and take the leader out for you. It's what you needed.
Yeah, the internet.
Yeah, that's it. The internet. Oh dear. But yeah, you and Daka had a pretty much. I wouldn't even call it a battle, really. You were just sort of working together. But was it always the plan to be the one in P3 onto those final couple of laps, just to ensure that one of you finished ahead of the other?
Um, well, it was my plan to stay behind him until the last lap. um, he realised what I was doing on the run down the straight on lap 28, and cursed me out, which was quite funny. But yeah, I knew the best chance I had was probably if I was behind him on the last lap, and I had just enough to get past him, and then just kept it together for the rest of the lap and secured the best position I could get. So yeah, after the disappointment of last week where I could have won or been on the podium and ended up getting 0. I think it's a great bounce back for me, and with speed getting about 17 quadrillion seconds of penalties, I think I'll have caught up a bit in the championship as well. So game on.
Yeah, I can't do the maths, but it's going to be close, I think, because you're only 6 points behind Finley, um, so yeah, you'll at least end today at 7 points to Finley, who I think should be the championship leader if my maths is mathing, or maybe close to that because Speed did in fact score, but.
Where did Speed finish?
I think he would have finished P10 in the end after
Okay,
penalties.
so he'll get 6 points. So he'll still be leading by
P8,
4.
P8 he finished
Oh, okay. So he'll be leading by 6 from Finley.
by 6, but it'll be very close.
Yeah.
Very close. It's what we like to see. Well, anyway, guys, congratulations on another P2. It was a solid race from yourself, and I'm sure you'll be able to keep this up going into the next 5 rounds of racing.
Yeah, thank you. It's a shame about last week. I'd be a lot closer. But yeah, game on. Half the season to go.
Yes, let's go. And finally, Daka. I think it's the first time I've had the pleasure of interviewing you, Daka, but I unfortunately missed your qualifying lap at the end of the session, and I saw you in P3, and I thought, where did you come from? As the race went on, but you had a fairly similar race to Ghost, but just run it for us. Run it through.
Thanks, Sumo. I'll start by saying 2 things. First of all, not bad for a commentator. Second of all, not bad for a part-time driver, Lawrence. No, on the last lap of qualifying, because I completely stuffed up my first 2 runs, so I was nowhere. I think I was starting about 16th, so that was a good lap under pressure to actually get a far better result than I was expecting. I think there was a gap of about a few hundredths between me and P7, so it was an important lap. And yeah, well, the first stint was very good. I decided to start on the mediums because, well, my opening laps on the harder compound are always dreadful, so I wanted to keep some track position, and lucky enough to have Finlay in front off strategy from me, which meant I could actually stay with him, even though he's a far faster driver than I am. And yeah, so it was a long DRS round for most of the first stint, but I think near the end of it, John Wick, who was running right behind me, had a bad lap, lost a DRS, and that meant that the three of us were able to kind of establish ourselves. Followed Ghost then because I didn't want to lose the DRS, and yeah, there after that it was just kind of trading places with him. There was a bit of a threat from Rick on the hard start strategy as well, which kind of petered out in the last few laps because of Rick's tyre wear. But yeah, I was unlucky enough to find myself in front with about 4 laps to go, and at that point, I kind of knew deep down that Ghost wasn't going to repass me. He was just going to sit in and wait. I saved as much battery as I could, but yeah, as he said, he just had enough to get maybe a 3/4 of a car length in front before T1. At that point, there was nothing I could do. I had no warnings, so I went for broke. I got 2 warnings in the last sector, but couldn't quite get to him. But still pleased with P3.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad result to finish on the podium, especially defending your position from qualifying. And was there any thought in the back of your mind of some little shenanigans as you went into the last sort of few laps, maybe feigning a mistake or just slowing down a little bit to let goes through?
Well, it's funny because on the penultimate lap out of turn 6, I think it is, I don't know, the hairpin, I got a snap of oversteer, and I said to Ghost in the party I should have had a bigger snap, so he went past me. But no, I think also Vegas is, I know I wasn't racing then, but it is still kind of in the memory for the league, so I didn't want to play any games and just kind of fight honourably, which maybe didn't give me the best chance at P2, but well, I don't really have any regrets. I mean, it's only my second podium in an APP, so I'm just very glad with the way it's went down.
I mean, it was a very solid drive to end up on the podium. I'm just trying to look at the championship right now. I mean, you're a bit of a ways off the lead, but what are your goals for the last 5 races of the season?
Well, to be honest, I didn't really set any championship goals before the start of the season, because I think it is obviously quite attendance-based, and you never quite know. So I wasn't too fussed about where I am in the championship, really. I want to win a race at some point, but obviously if Finlay keeps turning up to races, then that's going to be very hard. But I think more than anything, I just want to have a good feeling when I'm driving. Just feel good in the car, feel good on the game, and just feel like I'm at a high level. And tonight I was at a high level. I think the other 2 races I've done this season, I felt like I was completely off. So I think just having that feeling that I'm on top of things going forward, and then after that, hopefully results will start to take care of themselves.
Oh, take notes, APPF1 community. That's a fantastic mentality to have. Makes the racing, while competitive, seem that little bit less impactful on one's ability and ego, perhaps. But a fantastic drive, Dakar. A pleasure to talk to you. Hopefully I'll be here again to talk to you again on another podium, perhaps, in the next 5 races.
Yeah, well, we shall see. I feel like if I drive like I did tonight again, then the podium should again hopefully take care of themselves. But there's no guarantees. There's obviously some really quick drivers who weren't here tonight or didn't have the best races themselves, so it's always competitive. But yeah, hopefully I'm here more often.
Let's hope so. Thank you, Dakar.
Thank you.
And that's it, folks. That is round number 5 finished. The halfway point officially starts now. We've got 5 rounds of the season left to go. We're in Montreal next week, over in Canada. A fantastic circuit. Another Track Limits Grand Prix. We hope to see you there. I hope to be there as well. Check out Sunday. There will be the final run in Qatar for Elite, for them to get to finish their round 5, and then obviously Canada week starts on Tuesday with Tier 1 on the 11th. But that's going to be everything from me. I'm going to go and rest my voice up now. But thank you all so very, very much for watching. Thank you to all the drivers for attending the session and racing today. Great to have a full grid. But until next time, I have been Sumo, and I will see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.